so I appreciate that. And I think all of you understand improv. You know, you got to do that. Do your athletes ever have to make a quick split-second decision? Yes, and that's what we have to make too. When we talked about this when I first came, we were comparing our progress here in the launching of this building and getting movement by it to a 4x400 meter relay. And I think I was speaking at that time not knowing just how exciting a 4x400 relay could be. But I said we had already done 2 laps with the last 2 legs coming from Allison Felix and Kendall Ellis. Yes. And in this case, when we look at how we did in Tokyo with both of those relays earning golds and looking where we are today, I have to say I was ahead of it on that one. And this amazing structure is opening its door at the perfect time for this university. So huge thank yous to everybody who made it possible. I just want to do a quick shout out. Well, all the athletes, raise your hands, past and present. Woo! As Mike said, this is for you, and will all our coaches and staff raise your hands. This can't happen without all of you. To be with all of you to celebrate the dedication of the Colich Track and Field Center. I'm going to start with just a few words about USC's track and field program. Mike gave some really great background. But last month, the whole world saw its greatness. And you know, I get a chance as president to hear from some of our 400,000 plus alumni. And everything I heard was infused with pride for not just the wins, but the way the team was part of the world, the character that people showed. And that is something that just warms my heart. Of course, we aimed 13 of USC's 21 Olympic medals, which, by the way, is worth a huge applause. I think we were all taken by Allison Felix. She just transcended sport and reached out to the hearts of everyone. She became such an enduring role model. She already was, but she offered her voice as an advocate for women athletes and working mothers. And she often talks about character and integrity. And she says that means more to her than any medal. It's about how you show up and what you do. And I see that in all of our Trojan athletes. And we talked about Isaiah, we talked about Anna. We would talk about all of you because there's such fabulous stories that we see. Go ahead, please. You can move forward on that a little bit. So when we think about our history with athletics, we can think about it going all the way back to Fred Kelly and his gold medal at the 1912 Stockholm Olympics. And that reminds us again how long-lasting this track and field program is. It's a program with heart, and that's what you're going to see with generous family, with equally huge hearts who make it happen. So many people know the Colich family. And we are celebrating John and Janine today. They both graduated from USC. John was a thrower on the track and field program. As many as 20 to 25 members of their family have attended USC. That is a big record there. That counts parents, siblings, children, nieces, nephews, and if you added friends, we just couldn't even go all the way there. It's truly amazing. John's father, Don, many of you know, also trained as a thrower at USC. And back in 1966, Don built the original track and field weight room in the basement of the physical education building. So today's celebration really does build on that wonderful legacy that began nearly 6 decades ago. When it came time to refurbish that original weight room, John and Janine supported a new and improved one at Mark's Tennis Stadium and named it in honor of John's father. And now we're here today dedicating this new center. So for John and Janine, the coaches, the student athletes in the track and field program are family. This feeling began decades ago for John when Vern Wolf, who was USC's head coach for track and field, from 1963 to 1984, quite a long run, saw something very special in John. And thanks to Vern, John received a half scholarship to attend USC. I didn't deserve it, John will tell you. I wasn't that good, but he gave it to me anyway. And he says that's one of the reasons that I give back to the school. And we see that desire to give back everywhere. John and Janine helped build a plaza for the team at Locher Stadium. They dedicated, with their children, dedicated a plaque in John's name. To the Colich family name is etched on the wall of the Norman Stadium, and John and Janine even support the Road Warriors, and I think all of you know that's a group of USC men's basketball fans who travel to each away game and keep that spirit going in an unfriendly stadium. They brought that generosity of spirit to so many other projects. John's mentored student athletes in a number of sports, from basketball to volleyball, and of course, to track and field. He says, of all the things I've done at USC, that is the thing I'm most proud of. And I think that says a lot about John. Their love has inspired other Trojans to step up. USC started construction on this project in 2020, and both we were all a part of that. But when it really began in 2013, and that's when John and his former teammate Joe Antunovich and Parker Kennedy came up with the idea for this new center. So it took a while to get going, and then it has proceeded like lightning. They attended meetings, countless hours, all the things that go into planning something, and they led the way in fundraising. And at this point, nearly 60 families have made contributions to this project, including 26 with direct ties to our track and field program. Many of you are here today. You have our gratitude. And by the way, it's not just the gratitude for the financial support, of course, we absolutely love that, but really gratitude for the care and kindness that you show the Trojan family. On your shoulders today, our student athletes will stand. And that's when we see a current athlete like Anna, who just stepped up here, make an Olympic team through grit and determination, like all of our athletes show at every event. Her successes, like her fellow athletes, have their roots right here, and just think what we're going to be saying in 20 years about what has come forth from this amazing program and this amazing facility. John and Janine, thank you for your decades of generosity and support. Now I would like to ask you to come forward and say a few words.
Well, I had about a 5-minute speech, but the whole thing went out the window just now because she said everything I was going to say. Just throw this away. This will be about a 30-second speech now. But yeah, actually, there's not much to say. She covered it all. My family ties to USC go way back. My dad threw the discus with the former Olympic gold medalist Ken Carpenter back in the 1930s. And years later, he built the first weight room. I gotta skip the next 3 paragraphs. Here we go. I found something she did say. Okay, around 2013, following the track banquet, Joe Antunovich and I walked over to the track offices to meet with new coach Carol Gilbert. We were disgusted to find that the locker rooms were in such bad shape that the athletes weren't even showering. And the coaches had cramped offices, and all the amazing national championship trophies and other awards piled in boxes, as there were no place to display the Trojan throws of USC track and field history. I mean, they were just in boxes. I don't need to tell about this. As we walked back to our car, discussing what we had learned, Joe came up with an idea of building a Hall of Fame in the location of the small storage shed in the southwest corner of the track, which doubled as a team meeting space where the athletes would even huddle on the floor. I didn't even give them chairs. So I said, Joe, you're nuts. How can you build a building on this little teeny plot of land? And I really thought he was nuts. A few weeks later, Joe came up with a sketch similar to what you see today. He's a genius. And anyway, he transformed the space also under the stands into new locker rooms and lounges for the men and women's teams. Gene and I were sold on the idea. We provided the lead gift. Joe Antunovich provided all the architectural service. Rada and Parker Kennedy, another track teammate of ours, funded the locker rooms and lounges. With lots of persistence and with administration oftentimes wishing we would go away, and that's true. The funds were raised. The new facility will not only honor the latest USC track and field student athletes and coaches, but will go back over 100 years to the beginning of USC track and field and recognize all USC track and field letter winners. Thank you very much now, and I would like to introduce my teammate and good friend, Joe Antunovich.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Mike Bone.
Hello, I'm not Mike Bone. Good morning. Good morning. I think I'll get rid of half of my speech too now after John and President Carol. Thank you, John. Here we are 54 years later, still teammates and pals. Love you. Thank you, President Folt, Mike Bone, and all of you gathered here today. So many friends, teammates, compatriots from years past. It just seems like yesterday that this New Zealand farm boy arrived here on campus to study architecture and to throw the discus for the best track and field program in the United States. Coach Wolf introduced me to John and his brother Tom that first day, and we've been pals ever since. I was overwhelmed by the quality of our teammates. World record holders, Olympic champions, NC2A champions were on the team where this 19-year-old came along to join. It was indeed a slice of the incredible rich history of 100 years of track and field, just taking a slice and having all of those wonderful individuals on the team that I joined. Welcome, kid. Oh my. John related that trip to Coach Carroll's offices 8 years ago. In fact, not much had changed in 45 years at USC. Coach Wolf had a small, tiny office in the PE building, right up the far end of Locker Field. I remember having to meet with him and move aside Perry O'Brien's Sullivan Award one day, just in order to be able to move my chair so that we could watch the movies that he had made of us throwing. Perry O'Brien Sullivan Award. I made a presentation booklet after that visit with Carol and returned 2 months later and presented the design to John and Janine. John was smitten. I got him. He said, I remember, with tears in his eyes, he said, "Don't change a thing." So off we went. Off we went on this tiny little sliver of land, 3,600 square feet, little tiny triangle. I was so concerned about where the building would sit in relation to the 8th lane. I brought Quincy out with me one day. I said, "Quincy, this is very important. Pay attention, Quincy. We're going to site the building. You're in the 8th lane, running around, and how far should the building be outside the curb?" And so he walked me over to the fence, and the fence was only a foot back. He says, "What's wrong with this?" I said, "You gotta have a building here." So we compromised at 2 feet. And so thank you, Quincy, for contributing to the design. As John said, it was not easy. 4 athletic directors, 2 university presidents, and 2 head coaches later, here we are. We're proud of rebuilding the locker rooms and the team rooms under Locker Stadium. Although Mike Norman, where's Mike? Mike, you're back there. Mike Norman, he still asks me, "Where's my nap room?" You know, when we met with the athletes and, we involved them in the programming, Mike said, "What's very important is that I can take a nap before, between classes and workout." And so we gave him a nap chair, but not a nap room. So that was a good. The new Colich Hall of Fame building, aside from providing marvelous new offices and support facilities for the coaching staff, celebrates the illustrious 100-year history of this incredible track and field program here at USC. The beautiful trophies are on display. Our Olympic medalists and NC2A champions are honored. With a flick of a switch, you can gain access to any letterman who ever performed over the 100 years of the program here at USC. I think that's incredible. So bring your grandkids, push the button, and there you'll find everything about Grandpa. Kudos to my teammates, John Colich and Parker Kennedy, for their foundation commitments. Parker was a high jumper on our track team. 6'11 3/4, Parker? Close enough, yes. But he also, in 1970, he scored the winning point in the USC-UCLA track meet. So those things are important to us guys, as we go on. I must thank a few people. Thank you to Delamo Construction for all of their dedication for building the building. Thank you, Adler and Tony from the University Architect's Office. Thank you to Jeff Fucci for keeping us all sane and on track. Thank you to my colleagues in my office, Ivan, Scott, and Jay, who did all the heavy lifting on this project. Finally, Quincy, fellow coaches, current student athletes, here are your first-class facilities. Over to you as you continue the marvelous legacy of Trojan Track and Field. Thank you.
Please welcome back Mike Bowman.
Well done, Joe, John. That's inspiring in so many ways, and I'm now very, very pleased to introduce your head coach, Quincy Watts.